Hello again. So, in this session, we are going to be back in the CRM and we are going to be talking about views, how to create them, how to use them, and then we'll also talk about sending mass emails. So, we're going to start by going into our CRM and we are going to choose any module from our home screen. So typically we'll be in either the leads, the contacts, the accounts, or the opportunities. I am going to choose the accounts. And what you're going to see here is called the list view. So this is showing you, if you look in the upper left-hand corner, we are on all accounts. So it's going to show us a list of all the accounts that we have inside of the system. So I'm going to show you a few things here. Number one, we're only seeing 10 records per page. So if you want to change that in the upper right-hand corner, we can go up to 50 records per page. And that way you're not having to click through to the next page over and over again. You'll have more records on one screen. On the left, we have our filters here. So these filters are all fields inside of the record. So if I were to click on one of these records, all of these fields that you see here is data that we can filter by. So if we go back to that view we were just in, you'll see we have like billing city, fax, employees. So you could always filter all accounts by these right here. And a side note, it doesn't matter which module you're in. If you're in the leads, if you're in the contacts, the accounts, the opportunities, this view is going to look the same no matter where you're at. Your filters may be different because you may have different fields on that type of record. But the structure of this will all look the same and you'll use it the same way no matter what module you're in. So let's jump into the different views. So if we click the drop down here, we'll see some different views that were already created for us. Zoho will go ahead and set some up for you. So for example, if I click my accounts, this is going to show me all of the records that I personally own, that I am the account owner for. These views are very, very helpful because if you are looking for a specific type of account, or let's say you're working based on territories, right? And you only want to see the accounts that are in your territory, then you can create a view for that. So all you have to do is click on it every time you want to work on that list instead of having to filter them each time or searching for a specific record. It's going to save you a lot of time using these views. They're very, very useful. So what we're going to do to create one is we're going to go on this list and we'll go down to new custom view. We'll click there and we're going to see this. First, we're going to give it a title. So I'm going to say accounts in my territory. And then we're going to give it a specific criteria. So let's say we want the billing or shipping city. You could choose either one because it's on the account. So we have both. And you can put is or you can put contains. Either one would work. So the idea is that you're able to use all of these different criterias. You could even do it by tags. So we talked about tags in a different lesson. A tag is something that is going to mark that record as a certain industry or whatever you're using them as. Tag is construction, for example. I think that's what I used last time. Then we would use that tag here. And what would happen is we would save this view. And then every time I click on this view, I'm only going to see accounts that are tagged with construction. This is a really good way to use this. There are lots of different options here, so I recommend you to kind of go through and just get familiar with them and see how you can best use them. You can also do account type. So let's say I only want to see the distributors. So I need a list of distributors. So we can call it distributors. And then You can also create multiple criterias too. So let's say I wanted only distributors in a certain area, then we can do billing city contains, and then you can put whatever you want right here, West Palm Beach, for example. So then we would only find the distributors that are in West Palm Beach. So you also have the criteria pattern here. So the pattern is 1 and 2. So that means if the account is a distributor and is in West Palm Beach, then it'll pop up on your list. You can edit this pattern. So let's say I wanted it to be 1 or 2. So either it's a distributor or they're in West Palm Beach, then you would click edit pattern and you would change this to or instead of and. I'm going to change it back because that doesn't make sense for this example, but just know that that is an option if you want to change that. And then we have our columns here. So we have available and selected. So the columns are, if I go to this view, it's these columns here. So we have the account name, the phone number, and the website on this specific view. So it's whatever information you want to see right here is what you're going to put in the selected column. So let's say I want the account name, the phone number. Maybe I don't want the website, so I would remove that. Maybe I want the shipping city. You can also type in here to make it easier. So I want the account type to make sure I'm getting the correct account types pulled through. And then we will save this. And then once we have this custom view, we will see on our list, we have 1 distributor. So that's what's coming up here. And then you'll see at the top, we have all of the different columns that we added. And let's say I want to change these columns. You can edit the view from this little pencil right here. So we can go in here and we can change them right there if we want. So it's the same way it looked before. Or over here on the right side, you can click Manage Columns. So if we click there and click Manage Columns, you're going to have a list of all the different columns, just like what we had in the last view. You can also reorder them. So let's say I want the account type above phone number. I would just drag and drop it there. And then you can add new columns by selecting them on here as well. So then we would save that. And now we would see the different changes on the screen. So that is how you will create a view. If you want to change the view, again, you just click here and you just select the one that you want to change it to. And if you want to favorite the view, then you would click that star next to it. And now that view is always going to be at the very top. So I don't have to go down here and search for it. So if I want to send out a mass email, first of all, I'm going to have to come to the contacts. So we could choose any view that we have here. So let's say I want only my contacts. If I click this box at the top here, it'll select all of them for me. And then I can click send email. So it's going to ask you to select a template. So there are 2 options here. When we click select template, we can either choose the one that we have already created, or we can go ahead and create a template from here. If you click that, it's just going to take you over to your templates inside of the CRM so that you can create one. But either way, you do have to have a template created. You can't just type it in and send the email out like you would a normal email. So we would select the one that we want. And then we're going to have a few options here. So we have our template. We can select who it's coming from. So it's either going to be your email, since you're the one setting it up, or you can choose it from the record owner's email. So whoever owns that record, it'll come from their email. And then the reply to, you can change that as well. So it can be either the record owner email or your email. And then you can send it immediately, or you can schedule it for later. So if we schedule it for later, it'll let you choose a date and time. And then you also have follow-up actions here. So if we trigger an action based on the result of the email being sent. So if the email is opened, for example, then we can add a follow-up task or schedule a call. Again, it'll just give you the option. So call the contact. And then we can do that. I would do it a little bit far out after it's opened. You don't want it to look like you're stalking them like 2 minutes after they open it and then you immediately call them. So you would just configure that. And so now you have it scheduled, or you can send immediately, and you have your follow-up action. And then you would just click schedule, or if you wanted to send immediately, you would click send, and then it would go out to everyone. Okay. And that is it for this session. I really hope you're finding this information valuable and helpful, and I will see you in the next session.